Hey guys, it's Joy. Welcome back to my channel. If you're watching this, obviously you're watching this for a reason. So if you're watching this, yes, I'm going to get right back into it. Don't forget to like this video, comment, and if you're not already, subscribe to my channel for more Lagos-based Nigerian content. So basically, the whole vibe of this video is to talk about renting an apartment, house in Lagos. This is just specifically addressing like an apartment in Lagos, Nigeria, what to look for, how to avoid being scammed, especially as like a Nigerian foreigner. So I'm coming from that angle. So if you're based in the UK, the States, Canada, wherever it is that you're based in, and you're trying to get an apartment in Lagos, Nigeria, you need to watch this video because I'm going to give y'all all the secrets, all the tips, and my personal experiences. So yeah, let's get into the video. So I have my notes, because yeah, it's like a lot. So if I keep on looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes, yeah? So, okay. The first thing, and this is what my friend told me, so if you're looking to rent an apartment in Lagos, Nigeria, you need to look for an apartment during raining season. I think this month is October. I think it's still raining season. I'm not sure when raining season begins and ends. I'll put it somewhere in the video. But if you're looking for an apartment in Lagos, Nigeria, you want to make sure that you're looking for one during raining season, because Lagos, especially the island, the Lekkigeria, all these places tend to flood. And what you don't want to happen is during dry season, everywhere is all good and dandy, but when it's rainy season, you can't get into your apartment or you're stuck at your apartment because coming outside is basically like the River Niger. Like, it's flooded and you're going to need a Noah's Ark. Trust me, I've been there, I've done that. You do not want to be stuck in your apartment during raining season. So that's number one. Number two is you need to get a trusted agent. So let me tell y'all, I was doing everything from scratch. There was a website that I used that normally has like verified agents, which is very helpful. And I started looking at that website back in probably April of this year, just to kind of get an idea of what I was looking for, or maybe potential agents that I wanted to work with. I don't even know how I even got in contact with my agent. I think it was just me randomly wanting like to view a house and got in contact with him, and I just liked his vibe. And I basically, like, once I discovered him, I kind of talked to him, got a feel for him, probably like around my age range. We just clicked and I just stuck with him. I did see different properties with different agents, but I didn't vibe with none of them like I vibed with my agent. So you want to find a trusted agent. I did ask like family members and like friends for like any agents that they knew and trusted. And yeah, I got references, but I just felt like they weren't giving me the attention that I needed or attending to me. Cause you know, so I just kind of let that go. And I think, you know, if you're not based in Nigeria and you're based abroad, you're going to have way more questions versus somebody that's living here. Like, and y'all, I ask questions, like to the point, like there were like some agents I would reach out to because obviously I'm using my American number on WhatsApp. Some of them would accuse me of like being an agent trying to scout clients. Like, it was just very weird. So get prepared for that. Yeah, so number two, make sure you get a trusted agent. Number three, you want to figure out the type of, before we even get to number three, no, you want to figure out where exactly in Lagos do you want to stay. Do you want to stay on the mainland? Like, that's where the airport is located. You have places like Lekkinigeria, Maryland, Festac. I'm pretty sure all those places. Or you want to stay on the island. You want to stay in Lekki Phase 1, Aja, you know, Banana Island, Ikoyi, Victoria Island. You get so just all those places, and just know that to me, it's a vast difference between the mainland and the island. The mainland is obviously going to be cheaper. The island is going to be a little bit more expensive, but me personally, the island just fits my aesthetic a little bit more and is just nicer looking versus the mainland. Now, don't get me wrong, there are very pretty places to stay in the mainland. There's nothing concerns the mainland. So you want to figure that out. Once you figure out what part of Lagos you want to stay, you need to figure out the type of apartment that you want. I'm not really talking about you want a 1-bedroom. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, sis, bruh, you want a serviced apartment or you want a self-service apartment? And I think they're kind of explanatory, but if not, a self-service apartment is an apartment that you get that you're basically servicing yourself. And most likely you're bringing your own generator. If it's a compound with other people, you guys are bringing your own gate man and having to pay for the gate man. You guys are in charge of your own cleanup. You guys are in charge of your own garbage. Maybe you guys may have to pay to get your water treated. Like, all of those things are what would entail a self-service apartment. Being that I was just moving to Lagos, I didn't really know my way around, and I don't have a car here yet. That was not going to be my route, because again, if you have to buy a generator, then you have to be responsible for putting fuel, and I'm not doing that, okay? So I opted for a service apartment, and the ideally what I wanted was a self-service apartment with 24-hour electricity, in the sense of if NEPA takes light, then they have the gen that kicks in immediately. That is what I wanted, okay? And even when you ask for a service apartment, you need to ask questions. You need to especially ask about, like, if the light situation is important for you, which is for me because I work remote, I have to always have light. So if you are looking for a service apartment, you need to ask them, what's their light situation? Are you on a 12-hour light, 18 hours, 24 hours? Because some will say service apartment and there's light, and it'll only be 12 hours of light, and that's with the generator included. Not I. You get what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that the light situation is working according to how you want to work it. Then also you want to ask if it's a service apartment, because again, you are paying a fee for a service apartment, and they can range. I've looked at apartments that have fees of $1 million, 1.5 million naira, down to 200K, no service charge, 320K. So it depends, but you want to ask exactly what is it that your service charge is covering. Some will cover the standby gen, some will cover water, some will cover like landscaping, garbage, and security. So you want to make sure that you're very clear on exactly the type of service apartment that you're getting, what's included in the service charge that you're paying. And then also, since we're on it, I'm just gonna brush up on security real quick. With the service apartment and the security, I'm a single woman that's bi-coastal from Dallas and Lagos, and it's just me. And you know, my family is very like, you know, be safe, be safe, be safe. So that was the most important thing for me, is making sure I was in an area that was safe. So I knew that I wanted somewhere that just wasn't somebody's like compound or something. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I knew for me, like, I wanted something that was kind of managed like by an estate management, where there was 24-hour security, in the sense that you can't even get into any of the gates without an access code or somebody calling the phone to let you in type of security. You get what I'm saying? So that was what was important for me when I was moving here, and fortunately I was able to find that. So when it comes to security, you want to make sure, and also want to make sure that you're in a secure part of town. There are some parts of towns versus others that are not as safe. So you want to make sure that's important too, especially if you're a young single female like me. Okay. So I don't know what point we're on, but the next point that I want to talk about is you need to make sure that you get your money together. So with that being said, you want to make sure that you have your budget. So I knew that, so when I was looking for an apartment, and okay, so let me back up and say, you want to make sure you have a budget. Like, make sure you have like a hard budget that you don't want to pass. But then you can also have a budget that you're a little bit flexible on, but that doesn't pass your hard budget. What I'm saying makes sense. So when I came here to do my apartment hunting, I knew that I wanted to be in the Lekki Phase 1 area. And then after a while, I was like, okay, I can do Lekki Phase 1 and I can do Chevron. And then looking at some more apartments, I was like, okay, I can do a little bit after Chevron, because it was like the nicer apartments weren't even in Lekki 1. And to be honest, Lekki is cool, but Lekki is very overrated. And besides like it's just very commercial. Besides that, there's way nicer apartments that surround Lekki that you can stay at. So that's kind of what I figured and what my agent was telling me. So that's what it opened up my scope of exactly the places that I wanted to stay on the island. And with that being said, like I said, you want to make sure that you have a budget. I knew because I wanted to be in the Lekki area, I had my budget at 2.5 million, and 2.5 million was just for the apartment alone. Like it was just for the apartment alone, and I had in my mind that I did not want to pass 1 million naira for the extra service charges. So basically how they do rent here in Lagos is that most landlords require you to pay your rent up front at least a year. And then you also have service charge. You also have other fees that you have to pay: an agency fee, a legal fee, and a caution. Caution is like a deposit that we pay in the States normally for renting an apartment. Your legal fee is the fee that you have to pay for the lawyers to draft up the contract or the leasing agreement, and the agency fee is the fee that you have to pay for the agent for hooking you up with the place, and then your rent. The other fees are just one-time fees that you just pay, besides the service charge that you pay every year to the management or whoever it is that's managing the place, and then rent. So just put that in mind. Just because you look at an apartment that's 2.5, 3 million naira doesn't mean that that's all you're going to pay. That's literally, it's 90% of what you're going to pay. Just know that you're still paying these other fees. So my budget was 2.5 million, and I wanted a minimum of 2 bedrooms. I could have done a 1 bedroom because it's just me, but then I was just like, if I have guests over, stuff like that, y'all know how it is. And it's not, you get what I'm saying? So mine was 2.5 million, no less than 2 bedrooms. That was my budget. But my hard budget was, okay, like I can do 2.5, 2.7. I could even do 2.8, even if I had to. I really didn't want to pass 3.5 million naira when it came to the total package altogether. I still passed it. So you just want to make sure that you have a ballpark of the range of what you're paying for when it comes to that. And speaking of, just have in mind, I'm so sorry this video is all over the place. I'm trying to keep it in order. Just have in mind, and especially like, yeah, I may be bougie, you get what I'm saying? You know, my standards are a little bit different than what the average Nigerian may be used to, but I'm just going to be honest and say that it is going to be very hard for you to find the standard of apartment that you're used to if you're coming from somewhere like, again, like the abroad. If you're someone like me that has lived in the abroad all her life and you're coming here to look for an apartment, just know that it's not gonna be the same standard. And if you find something that is up to your standard, even if it's a little bit out of your budget, but you can make it work, make it work. Because when I tell y'all, I have looked at places to the point I was tired of looking at places like something would be perfect, but then you go into the kitchen and the sink is all the way on the other end, or there's not enough space, or you go to the bathroom and it's just a shower, but there's no like, I don't like, it was just weird. And for me, the two things that I didn't want to compromise on was going to be the bathroom and the kitchen. Like those were my two things I was like, no matter what, I'm not gonna compromise on. And it got to a point like, I was just like asking my agent, is it that my budget is too small? Because I'm not understanding these houses that I'm being shown. So just have that in mind. And I'm not saying that there are not nice places on the island. There are, but a lot of times they're very overpriced and you're paying, it's just, yeah. So just keep that in mind. The next thing I want to talk about is when you go to look for an apartment, I went with a guy. So you want to make sure that you go with someone that you trust, usually a male, and someone that can be your spokesperson, especially like I said, if you are not based in Nigeria and you're not too familiar with how it works in Nigeria, because unfortunately we live in a patriarchal society where if you're a single woman looking for a multi-million naira apartment, you're either having sex for money, like just it's the mentality that men have about women that make money here is actually very, very mind-blowing. So you want to make sure that you're able to go with someone so that guy can be the one mainly talking on your behalf. One, so there's no accent barrier, and two, because I just think that men just feel a little bit more familiar speaking with men when it comes to that. And so lastly, so you're not taking advantage, if that makes sense. Like, I could have done it on my own, but it was just so much easier going there with a trusted male friend that was able to just help me with everything. Even, you get what I'm saying? So just have that in mind. And when I say that, speaking about like the perception of women here, it kind of takes me again into the discriminatory practices that they do here. And it's mind-blowing, because half of the shit that they ask me would never fly if I was in the States. Like, that's a freaking lawsuit waiting to happen. But I can't tell you how many times I wanted to look at an apartment and the agent would tell me, not my agent, like the agent would tell me they're looking for a married woman or this or that. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, okay, like, they'll tell you, just let you know, the landlord wants a married woman or the landlord wants a family with kids. I'm like, basically, they don't give two shits if you have money to throw at them. If you do not meet their standards, you're not getting it. Like, luckily, I only encountered that 2 times, but it's just mind-blowing. Some will even on some applications, they'll ask you, what's your religion? What tribe are you from? You know, maybe somebody is Yoruba. They may not want to rent to an Igbo person like me, or something like that. Or maybe someone's Igbo. They don't want to rent to Yoruba. Like, shit is crazy out here. I'm like, this shit is crazy. So you just want to make sure that, be surprised, but don't be surprised, because it is what it is. It's Nigeria. Shit is not going to change just because you fucking flew in from America and you want things to go a specific way. Nobody gives a shit. Get with the program. It is what it is. Also, so when you do all that, like I said, so when you get with your agent, you want to make sure, once you have your budget, how many rooms that you want, what area it is that you want, you can give it to your agent, and then they'll normally start sending you properties that they have or that you can look at, and you usually set up an appointment to go look at it. Sometimes it'll be there with another agent or somebody that will let you in. I've never gone there and it was a landlord. It was normally me, my agent, like another agent who has access to the house or whatever it was, and we were able to view the apartment. So you want to make sure you view the apartment, and you want to make sure that the person that's helping you view the apartment or showing you around is knowledgeable of what they're showing you. And when I say knowledgeable, like I said, light, generator, if there's a flood, just questions like that. And it's important for you to view the apartment yourself, because like I said, if you're someone like me that has certain standards, what your standard is versus what a typical Nigerian standard is not going to fly. So for like me, I am definitely afraid of roaches. And there were like about 2 apartments that I looked like. One that was like being built, another one that was like older. One was like a Lekki, one was a Chevron. And like, as soon as I opened the door, I saw freaking dead roaches on the floor. And you know, it's not like the freaking big ones, y'all. I don't care how nice this apartment is, because if you see 1, you see 2. If you see 2, it's a whole colony getting ready to invade your shit. And like, they'll tell you, oh yeah, they'll spray. Yeah, spraying is the reason why they're here. And if they're here and I haven't moved in yet, can you only imagine what's gonna happen when I move in? But to a typical Nigerian, that shit is okay. This is what I'm saying. You need to make sure that you look at your space before you rent it. Like, I could have easily had someone do all this for me, but I probably would have ended up with something janky. I'm just being honest. So once you do that, and when you're asking the questions to the agents too while you're viewing, like I said, things that you should make sure you should do is like make sure the light is on, you know, if water's running. Sometimes you're not able to do that if it's like a newly built apartment like where I'm staying. You can see that they were doing construction, so I wasn't able to test a lot of things, but I asked questions. But some places you can just check to see if stuff is running, check to see if the foundation is okay. Like there's one place I went to and I was looking at the ceiling and stuff, and I could tell, and I told them, I was like, this place has like a water issue. You know, you can see like the water leakage and where they try to cover up, and they'll say, oh yeah, you can fix it. You can't fix that. In terms of like painting, no, you can't fix it. That means you have to break shit down. Nobody has time for that. So those are like just the type of little stuff you have to be careful of, because some of these agents will like pressure you, like, you know, man, you need to put a payment on it now because you know it may not be here tomorrow. Fuck it. If it means you taking 3, 4, 5, 6 months to find the perfect place so you don't end up in a dungeon, take it. Because if you're thirsty or desperate to find a place, it's going to be the worst mistake that you will ever make. Trust me. So don't take your time. Don't feel pressured. Even though the demand is more than the supply of houses here, you'll still find something. It may just take you time. Also, you want to ask if it's an old apartment that someone has just moved out of. You want to find out if there's any outstanding NEPA bills. Apparently, there's an app that you can find all that stuff out. But you want to make sure, because you don't want to end up moving in somewhere and then you haven't had light, and they tell you, oh yeah, you owe 300,000 naira for lights. Why? You get what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you do that. The thing that you want to make sure is when you've decided on the apartment that it is that you want to get, you want to make sure that you're able to verify a lot of stuff. Like I was paranoid, so they showed me like the paperwork of the landlord who purchased the property, the bank that matched. Like yes. Tip on how to avoid being scammed. You want to make sure that the paperwork matches the landlord, the bank account matches where everything is going to, because you don't, Maka, to avoid stories that touch, you don't want to hear anything saying you pay to the agent and this and this. When I made my payment, I paid directly to my landlord's business account. It was the same business account that he used to purchase the property. I saw the documents. I had the landlord's number. I spoke with estate management. I did all of that, and then I made the payment, and then I made payment to the agents directly for the other stuff. You get what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you verify and do all of that. If you're not able to do that and verify like I did, a lot of these agents have offices. You want to make sure that you go to the office. You want to, if you have neighbors who are there, you want to make sure that, hey, you talk to your neighbors and kind of ask questions, because this is Lagos. This is 419 Central. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest. I love being Nigerian, but we can be some fucking scammers. So you want to make sure that you ask the right questions, that you ask the residents questions about stuff, that you try to visit your agent to make sure his office, and he or she is who they say that they are, because 1 out of 10 negotiants every day are getting scammed. You want to make sure it's not you. So I think that's kind of really all when it comes to apartments, like the actual house hunting process. If I remember anything else, obviously I'll insert it somewhere in this video, but I don't want this video because this video is getting kind of long, but I'm saying what needs to be said. If nobody's gonna say it, I'm gonna say it. So let's segue into what landlords look for. Like I said, we're already in Nigeria. You already know there's a patriarchal society, and you already know that they are discriminatory AF. So I submitted like various applications, and I noticed a lot of them had like the same thing, like what my career was, how much I made a month, whether I was employed or self-employed. And if you're self-employed in Nigeria, they ask for like your registration number for your business and different stuff like that. And let me just be honest, I think what saved me was my career and how much I made monthly, where they can see like, oh yeah, I have no problem affording rent or whatever. Because even if you're employed, they look down on what type of jobs that you do. And I work a traditional Nigerian acceptable family job, so obviously that helped a lot. But yeah, they look at all of that. And then they ask for references, and if you're in Lagos, most of them prefer Lagos-based references. And even with your references, they ask what they do and stuff like that. So it's really like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? They also ask like if you've rented or owned, like your previous address, your previous landlord, if you have any. What else did they ask? Like I said, they ask how much you make a month, and then some will ask like your religion, your tribe, if you're married. And it's basically, once they ask all that and you submit it, it's like this profile that the landlord uses to prejudge you on whether or not you're worthy enough. You're worthy enough to rent their castle. You get what I'm saying? No, but that's really what it is. Like, the shit that they ask on these applications, I'm like, now who in the world? But you know what it is? When in Rome, you do as the Romans do. So those are like just things that to look out for. Like, again, like I said, be surprised, but then again, don't be surprised. So after you submit your profile, normally your agent will submit everything back to the agent. The agent then submits it to the landlord directly. And then sometimes that same day or a couple of days after, you will know whether you're approved or not for the space. And if you're approved, then that's when the money talk comes in. And speaking of money talks, like, everything in Lagos is negotiable, mostly. So if there's an apartment that's 2.5, you can obviously see if you can, even if you're only able to knock off 100K, my guy, just ask. The worst that they can say is no. You get what I'm saying? But I just say that to say everything's negotiable. But once that happens and you're approved, you don't have to make payment. And this is where I said to make sure you have your money ready, because this happened to me. And luckily I was still able to get the same space on a different floor, but because the transferring from an American bank account to this bank account and all that type of stuff takes time, I lost out on an apartment because the lady wasn't willing to wait. And I can't fault her. Like I said, everybody's trying to hustle. But what I'm just saying is make sure that you have your money sitting ready and you have access to be able to pull it, get your dollars or whatever it is, convert it to Naira and make the payment. Because auntie, uncle, these people do not wait for nobody. These people do not wait for nobody. You can look at an apartment today. Literally, I will look at an apartment today, tell my agent, yeah, I want it, and my agent will come back and be like, hey, I just spoke to them, it's gone. As you're looking at the apartment, these people are already collecting money from somebody else. That just goes to show you exactly what Lagos people are doing. It's mad. Like, it's... Welcome to Lagos. So, y'all, I think that's really it, honestly, when it comes to just tips you can do, how to avoid getting scammed, and how to house hunt in Lagos. If you have any other questions, let me know down below in the comments. I'll also leave my email address if you want me to hook you up with my agent. He's so helpful and he's still helping me. He is a godsend. But yeah, let me know. I will also post a video on me actually house hunting and the different properties that I saw. But yeah, this video is getting too long, so I'm gonna end it here. Don't forget already, if you found this video helpful, give your girl a like. Actually, no. Subscribe first, then like, then comment. And I'll see you guys in my next video.